week. I know when you are doing your nonprofit work and you have a mission overseas, it's taxing, especially her annual mission trip. So with that, we hope she's well and that she'll be back next week. But you get me. I know, y'all love seeing Zeta, but the show must go on, as they say. Okay, so our Monday mission update. Well, big things have happened. I completed the trip up to Chicago, met some really great friends. I got to break bread with our ambassador, Victor. Y'all seen him. He comes down every month. Made some great contacts. We're developing some things. We're seeing if we can get come visit us on www. Pando Commando. Yes, I know Mountain Up. I know you're there. Let's get Ryan Hunt here. Emily, send him an invite.
Okay.
But we finished that trip. We got back. Recovered for a couple days. Went up to the FOB, set up the beds that were donated, because this weekend we have the Veterans of Foreign Wars of Illinois coming to Forward Operating Base Rush to help complete the work needed to get our occupancy permit so we can start programs. We have had Home Depot donate the materials. In fact, Lowe's of Paducah, Kentucky, on the south side today, donated the 2 rails we need for the handicap bathroom. Praise God, right? This is how it works. Teamwork. We as the nonprofit, rely on your donation and volunteer. That's how a nonprofit operates. It should be how a nonprofit operates. Besides that, we need your donation. Bills need to get paid. In fact, I got to follow up tomorrow to see if we can get linens for these beds that were donated, so that we can give our volunteers a place to sleep when they come from Chicago down to help. See, this is where your $22 a month goes. Doesn't go into my wallet. It doesn't go on fancy trips. It doesn't go on anything of that nature. It goes to the mission. The Chicago trip did not come out of Die Hard money. That came out of my money. Why? Because the mission needs the mission's money. Me taking a trip up to break bread with my brothers and sisters, that's a plus on my side. But we did roll in networking and growing our network. We brought on 2 new restaurants up there for our Club 22. So, Zeta's not here, so we get to play it by quote unquote, or that game of stickball we did in the cities growing up, or cow tipping out in the country. So, I am going to bring on our tonight's guest. This is Brenda Sanchez. She comes to us helping our brothers and sisters with the family bonding. So again, I'm just going to bring her on, let her introduce herself and give her the show until she's done talking, and then we'll come in and we'll have a little Q&A. Hello, sister.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. So, welcome to the Monday Mission podcast. Again, this is where our teamwork makes the dream work comes up. A fellow veteran helping their brothers and sisters. This is how we work. So without further ado, I would like you to tell our people who you are, what you do, and why do you help Project iHeart?
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me on. So I am a 27-year Air Force veteran. I retired in 2015 from the reserves. I served active duty for a period of time and then chose to be home with, we talk about family and supporting military families and veteran families. And I understand that completely because I chose to get off of active duty and be a wife and a mom and support my family. But in that, I became a reservist and ended up serving 27 years. So I love helping the veteran community. My husband and I, since I've retired, we've been doing this about 12 years, but full-time in retirement since 2015, we've been helping businesses with their marketing and finding the ideal client and customer retention. So when it comes to nonprofits, very much like this nonprofit, it is all about, we talked earlier, Brian was talking about needing money and needing donations, and we help nonprofits to do that. We help nonprofits to also potentially raise funds, and then we help military families. I do a Military Mondays podcast every Monday, as long as I have someone to interview. If I don't, then we do marketing tips. So if you are a veteran, a currently serving military, a spouse, a child of a veteran that owns their own business, I love giving back and getting the word out about your business. And just kind of locking arms, like Brian said, locking arms and helping each other, because that's what it's all about. As I said, 27 years in the Air Force, I've been a part of veteran networking groups. That's how I met Emily, who is part of this project, Project iHeart, and learned about the mission and just love being able to help in any way I can those military families, or any families in need, but especially our military, because, you know, and I interview spouses and children, and that's because I truly believe the entire family serves. Even if you're a spouse, there are many spouses that I meet with and they're like, but I didn't serve. Yes, you did. You had to serve in order for your spouse to be able to be successful in their career. And as a child, you didn't choose the military, but you were a military brat. And I want to serve you. I want to help get the word out about you and your business. So that's a little bit about me and what I'm about. I see Brian back. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, I just had to do a quick little thing. Great talk. As I tell everybody, everybody goes, well, when your wife says, you got to go do this, you drop everything and go do it. And I go, well, yes, I do. Because she raised my kids, ran my house while I was overseas doing things, and she's my hero.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sink house, right, Brian?
Yeah.
As we call it, yeah.
Well, hold on, we got to add somebody here. Well, Sister Zeta.
Hi, y'all. I'm sorry. I've been trying to log on. For some reason, I can't. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you're here now, so the party.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Zita. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so we're past the introduction stages, but I've got to give Zeta her shot. Go ahead, Zeta. Tell them what you do, because I love what you do, and that you're bringing your knowledge, your programs to our facility.
Yes. So my name is Sister Zita. I live here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm originally from Nigeria. But I've lived in the United States now more than 20 years, and I have worked in different parts of United States. And right now here in Pittsburgh, I am a nurse and a midwife, just graduated with my doctorate in nursing and working with women and children. And that was how I got connected to our veterans. I have worked, yes, I have worked with a lot of veteran families as a home visiting nurse, one-on-one, and I still have my friends who are veterans. And working with women veterans has really challenged me, to know that not only that women carry a whole lot of family responsibilities, community responsibilities, and global responsibilities, and that in addition to that, you find women veterans going to extra mile of even carrying babies, delivering babies, on top of everything else, still raising those babies. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know how they do it. And knowing that maternal and infant mortality is still a challenge and globally, especially here in the United States, sad to say. I founded a nonprofit organization called Zeta's Health Beginnings. And what we do, our goal is to reduce maternal and infant mortality. Pretty much in the United States, particularly Western Pennsylvania, and in Nigeria, where we have that high mortality rate right now. And how do we do that? We do that through education, advocacy, training of doulas, training of community health workers, and making sure that women are being accompanied, when they're pregnant. In fact, before they get pregnant, like young women, I try to communicate with them, encourage them to understand their responsibility and to recognize the challenges that face women in general, and know that we're here, they have support system that they can take advantage of. And that is like my organization, which is a nonprofit, and other organizations too, that really support women and support especially veteran women, and families. So we're all for building families. That is why I'm doing this, podcast host for our veterans. Project Die Hard is what Brother Brian has bravely embraced. And he is like calling everybody, come on board. We all can do it. Together we can. And that is what we're doing today. And I'm so glad to have you, Brenda, and glad that I'm a little bit late, but it's nice to have you here. So that's what we do here and in Africa, in Nigeria right now. And we have helped women to start a farm. We call it Community Hope Farm for our women, where they grow their organic food, organic crops. And for me, that makes me happy when I see women are being more independent, and taking care of themselves as well as taking care of families. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. Thank you.
So see, now Brenda learned, I learned a little more. This is how it all works. So we already did the mission update. I don't know if you heard it, Todd, but yeah, we're moving along. We got the VFW coming down next weekend. I did put out that, hey, we need people to donate so we can get the linens for the beds that were donated. Everybody, this is a cycle, this is,
Right.
but yeah, I was just getting in with Brenda. But since we have a female veteran and somebody working to build families too, see, thank you, Lord, always works out. So this show, I think we're going to dive into women veterans and motherhood. Sounds like a subject we need to take on, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So Brenda, you rolled in first and you tell us motherhood, putting on the uniform, what was that like? What was the different challenge?
Thank you for asking, Brian. I could write a book on that.
You need to.
It's a challenge. I also, when I was serving on active duty and I was a mom, my spouse was also serving. So we were a dual officer household. And I was the senior ranking officer. So in the military, or at least in the Air Force back then in the 90s, whoever the senior officer is where the career goes. They look to the senior officer for the career. And that's not what we wanted as a family. We wanted my ex, because I'm no longer married to him. We wanted him to be the priority and his career to be priority. So I stepped aside and became a wife and a mom. And within 6 months, I missed my military family, and I loved being a mother. Don't get me wrong. Those that are stay-at-home moms that can stay at home and truly never have a part-time job or a full-time job, amen to you. You have a job. You have a full-time job, and people don't recognize you for that. And I want to recognize you. I needed something a little bit more. I was missing the adult interaction. And so I had a lieutenant colonel ask me to come work as a reservist. Now, backtrack just a little bit. Another reason why I got out of the service and chose to be a wife and a mom is I worked at the Pentagon for Cheney when he was the Secretary of Defense in his Crisis Management Center. I was working 24/7, and it was not the life I wanted to live and be raising my children with. So that's why I chose to step aside. And then, like I said, about 6 months after I got out, I got back into the reserves, and we don't have time for my whole career. People can go watch it on YouTube because I do the Military Monday. I mean, I was active duty, then I was out, then I was a spouse, then I was out.
Wow.
It's a long story. Somebody's going to have to reach out to me, but it is a challenge because after I went through my divorce, I chose to go back and then be a single mom as a reservist working active duty orders. So 60, 90, 120 days and trying to raise 2 preteen/teenagers. It's not an easy job.
Oh,
Not at all.
Raising kids is not easy at all. I mean, this is why I my hat's down to my wife, all mothers out there, especially military spouses, because yeah, my wife followed me wherever the Army sent me.
Yep.
Praise God. She never griped. She never. And she goes, "Hey, time to go." That's, I say, I can't relate to your side of it, but I know we help female veterans too. Look, to me, a veteran is a veteran. I don't care, male, female, I don't. It just, we all need that little boost up. And this is where I bring Zeta in because, yeah, I'm not the kumbaya guy, And I need people that can relate to my sisters and say, hey, it's okay. Here's hope. Right? Look, that's how it is. I know I'm a dude. I got it. Right? I can't do it all. This is why
Yeah.
everybody that wants to help, come on board. So with that difficulty, putting on the uniform, raising preteens, what would you say was the hardest part of it?
I think the hardest part was not being able to be there for their extracurricular activities, not being able to be there when they got off the bus, when they got home from school. Trying to juggle all of that, because when I was working active duty, I was working for Air Force Space Command in Northcom in the command center. So I was getting called in. Sometimes they were a little older by the time I was working the command center, but network operations, I get calls in the middle of the night.
Well, again, I understand. I was a senior medic.
Yep.
So we're in the same boat.
So
I could be lying in bed and phone would ring and I'm on my way because something had to be done that took mine in.
and it's finding the daycare. I mean, once they got old enough, I didn't necessarily need daycare, but you need somebody watching out for your kids, even if they're teenagers. You need somebody that's looking out for them and having trustworthy, reliable sources that you can pick up the phone 24/7 and say, hey, I got to run into work. I got to do this, whatever. Can you come sit with the kids, or can you check on them throughout the day or night, So
I remember actually, I was in a advanced school, right? And I had a young NCO there who was bunked with me because, oh, wait, you're Air Force. You guys get your own rooms at the Hampton Inn. I got it. But we get barracks. But he got bunked with me. And I was like, I know that last name. I went, who's your dad? And he told me, and I go, call him. And he called him up and, dude, it's Doc Gibby. Dude, what are you doing there? I'm in the school with your son. He goes, cool. And then the next day in class, I embarrassed his son because I remember changing your diapers, young man. Because that was the military community back then. Hey, watch my kid. You didn't worry about it. You just, hey, watch my kid. I gotta go do something. You knock on the neighbor's door, they could have just moved in. Here, watch these. And they were like, cool, yeah, let's do that. And again, this is why we're bringing in veterans with their families. Because if the veteran needs to go away for that in-depth rehab, right? I don't want that brother or sister worrying about where's my family getting the next meal? Are they safe? Are they secure? Are they going to be okay while I'm taking care of myself? That's part of the mission why we bring in veterans with their family to our facility. It's that whole big picture. That's why we give them up to a year. Because you can't fix anything in 90 days. Okay. So pick the next subject. What are we going to talk about? Come on, Zeta. Pick a subject. Let's
No,
talk about family.
yeah, that whole thing of family, it's very important, and none of us exist without a family.
Yep.
And we all have different ways that we were raised as a family. But what is important is that none of us can exist without a family. And no matter how good a family is, there's no such a thing as a perfect family, but they are still precious to us, So I always encourage my clients when I talk to them to value their families. I mean, some of them have some traumatic experiences growing up, and even as grown men and women. But what I say is, we all have our stories, that you can't a tree can never make a forest, and that is why God put us in a family, gave us what he gave us, and some of them we attracted to ourselves as well as being part of that family, but that we must cherish our families, and be thankful for who they are and for what they have helped us to become. And if there is any problems or challenges in a family, that we become part of the solution and not the problem, and that's what we're doing here, really doing this, working with this project, Die Hard. That's what we're trying to do. We know that in our global family, there are people who have been hurt along the way, who have been left behind along the way, who have been treated not so good, who have not even been recognized, especially women. I keep saying that because I know I work with women all the time. I understand the struggle women go through in our, global village. And I know that a lot have happened to them, but I still believe that the grace that God has given each woman will help them, to really come forward, pull themselves together. See, and women are great at that, pull themselves together, see what we can do for individual women that really need our help, and for what you're doing, Brian, because really that is so essential. So whatever each one of us can do, Brenda, me, Brian, anyone else that we find along the way, please come along, help us. We are trying to build a strong families, and we just cannot do it alone. And it is a need right now in our world, in our society, because together we can stand. But if we are all disintegrated, burdened with all kinds of daily issues, then it's going to be more of a challenge, to us. So that's what I'm going to chip in there as this conversation goes on.
Well, you talk of family, right? Yes, I have my wife and my kids. That's my immediate. But Brenda can attest. She's my sister.
Mhm.
I'm her brother. We have another family that we need to get back together.
Mhm.
When family works together, more things get done.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And that's what I was going to say, Brian. And it's not just about the immediate family.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I didn't have a ton of different assignments in different cities or around the world, but many of our fellow military members or veterans did, and they were moving every 2 to 3 years or 4 years. And what I love about the military community, which is very different from the civilian community, is that when you pick up and you move to a new base, whether they know you or not, you're probably going to find somebody that you know. We just run into those circles. But even if you don't, it's like an instant bond. It's like instant family, which I just have not seen in the civilian community. And we need to pull together and rally together to help those that are in need. And we do that when we're serving, But what about when you get out? Are you
Right.
continuing to
Right.
do that? And I just put it out there that those of you who have separated, retired, some like me, early on, I retired. I'm like, that was my past life. This is my new life, because that's another challenge, is probably a topic for a different day. But when you separate from the military, it is a culture shock. As
There-
service, a little less than active duty, but
There is no subject when it comes to veterans that, right? Because sister, yes, one more person tells me you're retired, you no longer wear the uniform. No. 26 years, 8 months, 14 days. I put that uniform on every day. I am a non-commissioned officer, a soldier. That's what I am. Live with it.
yep.
That was my career.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's hard when you get out,
Mhm.
because
It is.
you have an identity, and because we have such a tight knit community, and you're on base and you're with that family, that military family, and then all of a sudden, it's not that they're not there, they're just not as visible to you. You don't see them as often. And I think that's why so many people who separate, and so many of our veterans and military that separate, are so lost in why they struggle so much, is because it's not the same in the
Mhm.
civilian, and trying to build that type of community and those type of relationships is so much different. And we've related for 27 years, or almost 27 years for you, Brian, in a uniform, in a job, in a career, in a mission. And now, what is your mission?
Well, again, this is why our facilities are there. This is why we're building these. Because we want to bring them back into the fold for a day, a weekend, a week, a month, up to a year if they need it. But to help them translate back to the civilian world. And it's not like, oh, we got to train, do this, train. No, sitting and talking.
Mhm.
Then let them come to us and vent when they do get out and go to the civilian world, and they're working with these civilians, and they, when they get home, they just want to pop somebody's head off because it's what it is. It is. It's not. I love civilians, but I have civilians that sit on my board of directors. I love them to death. They're great brothers and sisters in the war. But when I say something, sometimes I have to repeat it and break it down, and right, to whereas the veterans sit on my board, they go, yep, got it, let's go. But again, that's where that teamwork makes the dream work is. That's why my board is made up of veterans and civilians, because there's myriad of different ways to do things. Not every person has the same way.
Mhm.
And being a good leader, it's taking other input before I make the decision.
Mhm.
Brenda can attest that. She was an officer. She understands that.
My enlisted folks were the ones that kept me out of trouble. A good officer knows that.
And a good leader, it's that. As a first sergeant, I relied on my lower people. And my job was to make sure my officer didn't get in trouble. That's just one of those things.
Mhm.
Well, to me, now it's in the flip-flop. Because apparently I'm the whatever. And I need people to keep me out of trouble.
You're the top of the heap, the top of the stack.
Yeah, sometimes most time I hate it, but I know, like, my people this weekend with the VFW coming down, they're gonna want me to wear the polo and the button-down shirt. And I'll have to disappoint them again, because when I'm up there working with my volunteers, I wear a volunteer shirt just like everybody else.
Mhm.
You know, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody goes, well, you're the founder, yeah, but I don't take a salary. So technically, I'm a volunteer. I just happen to be the head volunteer.
Mhm.
Head elf.
Yeah, that's great.
So, oh, Pittsburgh. Brenda, where are you out of?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado
Oh,
Springs,
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah, yeah.
Been out there a couple times.
Beautiful.
Is it still snowing?
It's not snowing. We've had good weather for a while. It's funny. Most people I say Colorado Springs are like, oh, it's too cold and too much snow. I actually grew up in upstate New York, in the Syracuse, New York area and north of there. We don't get any snow here compared to there.
Oh,
Like,
really?
it's not as cold, not as much snow. Now, with climate warming and all of that, they don't
Oh,
the
geez.
the snow and the weather that we used to get growing up, but they still get more than us usually, quite a bit more than us.
Oh,
So
I know. I was stationed at Fort Drum, New York.
so Brian, you'll know where Pulaski, New York is then, probably.
Pulaski? Yeah,
Pulaski. Yep, I grew up in Pulaski, New York.
I lived there.
You did. I lived on Tinker Tavern Road.
That was the road right over. I was stationed at Fort Drum,
Uh-huh.
but I lived down in Pulaski because rent was cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah.
You grew up, you were in my neck of the woods for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I loved it. I loved it because I would be at work and I'd call, hey, I'm leaving work, coming home. My wife would be going, okay, be careful, there's snow. I mean, there's no snow right now, you know, that lake affects snow.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I always would get an inch, but my house would get 5 feet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, there were winters where we had to dig up and out and would get out onto the roof and slide down, like, yeah.
My last assignment before I came here to Kentucky, my detailer called and said, hey, it's time to move. Okay. They went North Dakota, Wisconsin, or Kentucky. She didn't even get Kentucky out of her mouth.
You were like Kentucky.
Kentucky. She goes, you don't even know where. I said, I don't care. There is 12 feet of snow outside my door right now.
Yep, and North Dakota would have been the same thing.
And Wisconsin, that's too cold in the winter. We got some friends up there. They keep trying to convince me to come up and go ice fishing. I'm like, no, I'm good. Actually, I just got invited to a veteran fishing trip that I had to decline because I got meetings that whole day to try to get Bob Rush up and running. Everybody goes, well, you got to take time off. I said, well, you're right, I do. You want to step up and take something off my plate?
And they're like, no.
Yeah. So, you know, that's where volunteering for Project Die Hard is so important.
Yeah.
You know, what does a volunteer do? Well, volunteer. What skill do you have? Can you write a newsletter? Can you design graphics? It's not all about coming and swinging a hammer at the facility. It's not all about, the physical aspect. Like the newsletter editor, that person could be anywhere in the United States, right? Or volunteer for the admin stuff. I mean, I would love to have a virtual assistant. I need one, but I can't afford to hire one. So there's somebody out there that says, hey, I can do that for Diehard. Now, they do that, I feel sorry for them because they get access to my calendar. Actually, no, I won't, because part of their job would be to make sure my calendar doesn't get overloaded.
So that your calendar is empty.
Never empty. Never empty, but I don't know how many meetings I sit in. And 5 minutes into the meeting, I know exactly where this is going. So I don't need to talk to them. Oh, pay me $5,000 and I'll write your grant. Okay. Why would I pay you $5,000? Can you guarantee me I'll get that grant? Well, no. So why would I pay you $5,000? Why are you asking me to pay you money to do something that you cannot guarantee? That's not being a good steward with the funds we receive.
But that's a lot of what we see today, especially for nonprofits. I come across that a lot. And it can be very frustrating, when you know that money is hard, you really depend on the generosity of people. And then someone is asking you to, pay for something that you have no guarantee. So I don't know, but that's a challenge.
Oh, it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
It's a big challenge. As Brenda and I were talking before we started the show, veteran business owners, praise them. They're there for profit. Project Diehard is a nonprofit. We had that discussion that nonprofit's mission is the mission, not making a profit. Okay, this is where that teamwork makes the dream works out. I always invite veteran-owned businesses, right? Like, yes, Ryan, the pandocommando.com. Go visit. They support the mission, support them, and they can do more for us. You go to our website, onto our Facebook page, all that, you'll see we do shout outs for those companies that help us. So that's a win-win. All right, got one right here, Blue Dragonfly. Christy Remo, Navy veteran, female. I love her because she was a doc like me. We're all a little bit crazy, right?
All the military is a little crazy.
Yeah, but us medics are a little bit off on the other end.
But it's going to nonprofits, Zita, and Brian brought this up.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, no, I just got this text message. And
I think sometimes the challenge, though, not a $5,000 grant writer, but like I love to help nonprofits, but there is a cost or
Oh,
there's a minimal cost for the service in order to be able to do it. But I know, are there guarantees? There are a lot of things in life that there are no guarantees. And what I always say to nonprofits is, if I can show you a trend of other nonprofits that have used the services, because I help with marketing and retention, if I can show you other nonprofits that have had success, that is a track record. Is there a guarantee it'll be a success for you? There's never guarantee.
oh, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I totally understand there is always a cost involved,
Yeah,
but there's other ways.
to support and give your time or your talents.
Right.
Well, not even that, even for businesses.
Mhm.
Throw it into your marketing budget.
Yeah,
Okay, we do this Monday Mission podcast, right? I give the new thing we're rolling out, and Emily, I'm still working on it. Don't hit me up. Right. One thing we're offering businesses that come on board with us, a 1-minute commercial to play on this podcast. Free. I'm not charging any money for it. You see, there's always ways
yep,
to work together to benefit
Exactly.
each other.
it's like that grant writer. Write the grant for me, and if I get the grant, then I'll pay you some money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes there are some hard costs with some things. A grant writer, it's just their time. But with other things, there are hard costs that you just can't get around.
Trifolds.
Yours,
Trifolds.
trifolds. Oh, Brian, we should chat because I might be able to get you your trifolds for less.
And even, you know,
We'll talk, but I really doubt it,
Okay.
just because all I gotta do is buy the paper. And they do all the rest.
Yep.
And I got a sweet deal on the paper through a local business here that, yeah,
We might
we
not.
might.
It'd be worth the conversation.
Oh, and look, everything is worth a conversation.
Yep.
yeah, right.
I had a meeting earlier with a group of accountants. And I said, tell you what, if you can beat our current accountant's deal, I'll seriously take an hour and talk with you. They go, what's the deal? That he does our books for free. And he comes, pours concrete and patches drywall, and so if you can beat that,
Yeah. Yep.
they all win.
Yep.
You know, look, every once in a while we get blessed by people like that. But we understand it takes money to operate. We have to pay the thing.
Mhm.
Again, this is where people's donation, people gotta understand. We don't waste money on Super Bowl commercials. We don't waste money on trips to Las Vegas. We don't waste money on Porsches. We don't waste money. No. Everybody that donates to us has the right. When you're a monthly patron, you have the right to come to any facility we build and see where your money's going. My caveat to that is always, and always will be, bring work gloves and muck boots,
Mhm.
because there's always work to be done.
Done. Yep.
And somebody asked me once, so if you got somebody that gives you thousands of dollars every month, and they come to the facility, and there's a ditch that needs dug, you're gonna have them dig the ditch. Yeah, and on the show, I'll say, come on down here and join me. We got to dig this ditch. Yeah, I know better than anybody else. That's what a lot of people, I think they miss that point.
Mhm.
Oh, so I see Kurt is back in the wings. I don't know if he's going to join us. Oh, there he is. Let's bring him on.
So Brenda, I missed what you do in terms of, do you do nonprofit or both?
I do everything. So we help businesses with their client acquisition and retention. And we are also best-selling authors of Life's Real Currency, because we truly believe that in life and in business, relationships are the key to bring you wealth.
Right.
Okay, now on that, Brenda, Emily has the mailing address of Bob Rush. We want a copy of that book to the library.
I will send one.
That's, you know, we have a nice little collection going from all the different book writers I met. And hey, send one, we'll put it in the library.
Awesome.
Kurt, you get a haircut.
Kurt got a haircut.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very nice haircut, Kurt.
Yeah, I did. Can I want to look more like you, Brian?
You know, all right. Everybody goes, dude, you're retired. I'm like, you don't understand, man. You just can't comprehend. A hair touches my ear. I just,
I did not.
we're there. So Kurt, give us an update on the disability channel, what you guys are doing and how you're helping out.
And Kurt,
All
look,
right. Well,
I was gonna say, Kurt, look who I got to come on. Brenda.
yeah, that's right. You should, yeah, I was getting all these, urgent messages. Oh, we got Brenda coming on. I'm like, yeah, that's great. All right. so you got a celebrity status, Brenda, in this wheelhouse. So way to go. That's the relation. But yeah, at the Disability Channel, we're producing shows, and during these shows, Emily and I and others, my wife Sue, are able to give that Project Die Hard shout out, and and I tend to do a little public speaking and so forth. And I've got a PowerPoint that I use that I always point out. You can always email me, Kurt, K-U-R-T, @projectdiehard.org. So I'm leaving it very prominent that we're grateful for the work being done at Project Die Hard, and in a lot of one-to-ones and other events we attend, like Helpopedia and so forth. We're doing an event out of Georgia. It's an Afro International Film Market and Festival. So it's an event that we're going to be able to share with thousands of people, the work we do here at Project Die Hard, because when people get to know me, they know that I am doing work here as an ambassador of Project Die Hard as well. And so Zita is involved in that project. We were working a little bit on that one earlier. So it's becoming a growing family of all of us stakeholders and supporters and people who just want to see this mission flourish and find more people to plug in and do their part. I have people telling me, working together works is another way to say this. Teamwork makes the dream work. So there's a lot of resonance going on far and wide, and I'm looking forward to a water ski show season. So we're actually going to have another one of our indoor practices tomorrow, and waiting for that weather to turn. It wasn't so cold here in Wisconsin, like 40.
Wisconsin earlier and how cold it is.
Brian just mentioned that. Okay.
He wasn't gonna go ice fishing up in Wisconsin.
This is another veteran nonprofit up there that I work with. And they're like, dude, come ice fishing, come ice fishing. No. I have 10 pounds of titanium holding my spine together. Me in cold weather really doesn't work out. Okay. Yes, we here at Project IR are grateful for everybody you see on this screen. They get it. Teamwork makes the dream work. And together, everyone accomplishes more. Whether you do big things for the mission or small things for the mission. All I can say is thank you and God bless. People, that's all I can say. I'll say it again, whether you give $22 a month or $22,000. I do not know the amount of money you give to this mission. My accountant and treasurer put the name and the number together. They have orders only to give me the name. So when I'm doing things like this, all I can say is thank you and God bless. One more round robin. We got 2 minutes left. Emily, you just hopped on, so you're in the hot seat. What do you got to say to the veterans of America?
Well, thank you for everything that you are doing, and just kind of be yourself and keep doing what you're doing, all the great stuff.
Oh, that's me. I'm talking to veterans, but you're good. Brenda, what do you got? What do you got for your brothers and sisters?
Just take care of each other. Really, it's about lifting each other up. If it's not financially, it's, saying prayers or being there, lending a helping hand, taking in, if you're not there in the area where the the facility is, no matter where you are, taking a veteran for a holiday meal, for if you know somebody's being deployed and the wife or the spouse, the husband is left behind with the kids, just reach out and be a support system for them, because that's what it's all about. And remember those that separate. Do not forget those that separate from the service, whether they retire or separate. They are going through a huge struggle right now and trying to fit into a new community and figure out what their life is going to be, because they no longer have that somebody telling them what to wear, what to do. I mean, it is a true culture shock, and just reach out and put your arms around them and be the biggest support that you can to them.
Okay, thank you. Zita, what do you got?
Yeah, like we all have shared, I just want our brothers and sisters who have veterans to know that we really appreciate all that they have done and all that some of them are still doing. We understand their struggles, and that is why we're doing what we're doing, supporting Project Die Hard, to reach out to them in any way we could. Please know that we are with you, but physically and in spirit, we're praying for you. We know that one day, all your concerns, all your struggles will really be solved, and people like Project Die Hard are doing all they can. So reach out to them, reach out to anyone, any one of us who could really help to direct you to the right place. There's hope. Just know that there's hope.
Cool. Thank you. Bert, what do you got?
Well, I want to inject, the idea of fun and the importance of fun. I say a little bit of what's fun gets done. And, I mentioned a little bit about water skiing, and, I've been a part of being with our injured, wounded veterans and seeing the difference that makes. And back in 2014, 2015, our local VA got with PVA and DAV and a lot of partners, like 60 partners. And we had over 50 renditions of sports and recreation available at that expo. And so the idea is there's plenty of places to reach, like adaptive adventures and whatever. I just really celebrate what this nation is doing surrounding veterans with activities like this, like our friend JR at the Veterans Ranch, Equine Therapy, and just so much out there. So reach out, find out all of these options, go out there, do something fun. And a lot of these practitioners are calling it therapeutic recreation because we really do need it. All of us do.
This is so true.
Yeah.
And in my last words to my brothers and sisters, don't give up. Your story is important. And you need to be around tomorrow so we can all hear it. Don't quit. You have too many people relying on you. Don't give up. So with that, everybody wave goodbye, and we will see you all next week at the Monday Mission.
Thank you. Bye.